coming to speak with us, Mr. Snowden. It's a great honor. So my question for you, so one of the justifications often provided for surveillance and encroachments on civil liberties is spreading liberal democracy and free markets throughout the world. Do progressive ideologies always overstep their bounds when they violate rights and freedoms with the goal of future prosperity?
It's a good question, kind of complex. So we have to think about it in terms of ultimately what kind of government do we want for ourselves? How do we want to live? And when we think about it in terms of basic elemental terms, right? What makes a proper government? What makes a free society? What makes a liberal society? Sort of free markets and freedom of speech, all the rights that we enjoy. We have to also think that we want to be free from the encroachment of foreign societies. We don't want, an African nation to invade Canada or the United States and impose their way of life upon us. This is the real challenge of how do we promote liberal society around the world. And ultimately, when we look at the effective methods of spreading our values and the ineffective methods of spreading our values, aggression is never the right way to go. Whether it is aggressive use of powers through clandestinity, sort of through assassinations and targeted killings, subversions of governments and their overthrows, or through backing of civil society, through training and resourcing and exchange of ideas and commerce, we see that these do work. One of the most significant achievements for liberal society around the world in the last century was the invention and propagation of the internet itself. Suddenly, people who had never had access to foreign thinkers, foreign perspectives, new ideas, new products and services, had them no matter where they are. Even in China today, despite the Great Firewall, people are able to use technological workarounds, virtual private networks, anonymity technology, even going to a hotel or working for a foreign business or going to a wireless access point that's used by the press at a commercial event. People are able to break down these walls, go beyond sort of the authoritarian restrictions of local governments to achieve access to sort of a robust marketplace of ideas, a community that they could never reach at home. And this works because ultimately governments are determined by their people. And when we look at conflicts around the world, ultimately we shouldn't be asking, how do we govern them to make them like us? We simply have to make our societies so attractive, make our values so transparently desirable that they want to pursue the same outcomes. When we live good lives, when we act morally, when we act ethically, when we compete fairly and we win, that's an inspiration that changes the world. And I think that's the way we need to encourage our foreign policy institutions to represent us.
Thank you.